समझ नहीं आ रहा अपने सैलरी इंक्रीमेंट का क्या करूं।
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है? अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स के एसआईपी का टॉपअप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
क्या? समझ में नहीं आया।
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है? अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स का एसआईपी टॉपअप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
अब समझा।
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme related documents carefully.
I've used the words Pakistan se azaadi in the headline for this week. The risks in using this headline are enormous, from being accused of indulging in clickbait journalism to being asked to go see a shrink. Dimag kharab hua hai kya? I plead, however, that you hear me out first. Of course, it cannot be anybody's case that Pakistan has colonized India. So why do you need Azadi? Pakistan has not colonized India. In no field, be it military power, economy, culture and soft power, or global image, can it ever catch up with India. That train left the station in 1983, around the time it chose the policy of bleeding India through 1,000 cuts. This was Zia's Pakistan on its Afghan jihad high, and troubles in our Punjab were rising. This set Pakistan, however, on a course of irreversible decline. It got steeper in the subsequent decades. It started like this and became deeper after that. Today, at about 55% of India's per capita GDP, it sees the gap rising every quarter. An easier way to understand this might be to see it as a population about a little over a fifth of India's, having about 1/10 of India's GDP and becoming even lesser. On literacy, life expectancy, higher education, an enormous negative gap has built up for Pakistan, and it is expanding. Lately, there's been some excitement over Pakistan's stock market in Pakistan. Pakistan's stock market excitement in Pakistan over Pakistan's stock market being among the fastest growing in the world, which is true. While India has stalled for almost 18 months, that's also a fact. Lift the Pakistani social media hood and look underneath at the data. The total market cap of Karachi Stock Exchange, or KSE, after this relentless, breathless 18-month boom is about $70 billion. That is billion with a B for Bombay. That's exactly 1.35% of NSE's market cap, despite its long stall. Today, 7 Indian companies, 7 at this point, are individually valued more than the entire KSE. Reliance is 3.5 times, about 3.5 times. HDFC, Bharti and TCS twice or even more. Go downwards a little and you will see 14 Indian companies are valued above 50 billion. Its trade with the US, Pakistan's trade with the US is less than a tenth of India's. Its imports from China, its most valuable ally, patron, protector, and the largest trading partner, is just about $16 billion, including 85% of Pakistan's armament imports. India's imports from China are 116 billion. That is according to the latest Chinese customs data. And it includes no armaments. Thank you. On every economic indicator, Pakistan's, in fact, is even worse than its GDP being 1/10 of India's. Look at the civil aviation industry. Pakistan's two biggest airlines, that's PIA and Air Blue, together have about 44 aircraft, of which at any point of time, maybe about 36, 37 are operational. Whereas Indigo and Air India together have 700 plus and are adding one a week. In fact, even Akasha Air, who nobody even thinks of when you look at Indian aviation's biggies, even Akasha Air has many more aircraft than all of the Pakistan's airlines put together. That's about 16-17% as much as Pakistan's. The neighbors are today batting in completely different leagues. The prospects of trillions of dollars worth of critical minerals or humongous soil reserves are just fantasy. At this point, it is also fueled by self-anointed field marshal's reading of the scriptures, and his interpretation that since Pakistan is only the second nation formed on the Islamic kalma after Medina, after the Riyasat of Medina, it must also have oil and minerals underneath its soil like the Saudis. As Ghalib said, दिल के खुश रखने का गालिब ये ख्याल अच्छा है. It's a useful thought to console yourself. In short, not only has Pakistan zero chance of catching up with India, but it will only see the gap rising. At various points of time, its leaders will offer its people the same snake oil in different bottles. Critical minerals, hydrocarbons, gold and copper, and the latest, the Amazon. They are the Amazon of JF-17s for the Islamic world and its non-state warlords. Think Libya, think Sudan. The hard fact is that the only area where Pakistan can narrow the gap with India is population. Its growth on this count, its growth of population is about twice as much as India's. Is this what you want, particularly if you are a poor country? Is that what Pakistan wants? The Pakistani elites, including Munir, know they've been left behind. That dumper truck versus the shiny Mercedes statement reflects just that. He can never win a war or even a short skirmish with India. He has only one power, however, the power to slow India down and to fuel big power anxieties over the nuclear subcontinent. It is this negative Pakistani leverage that India has to learn to counter. Begin by looking at the big picture. Have we, over the past decade, allowed Pakistan to take a much bigger space in our minds than it deserves? A much larger weight in our politics than is prudent? Do we really need to put Pakistan center stage in our politics? Have we created for an economically and strategically defeated Pakistan unnecessary space and leverage in our polarized politics? Since January 2016, when Narendra Modi's peace overtures were destroyed by the Pathankot air-based terror attack, the BJP's politics has become increasingly dependent on Hindu-Muslim polarization. There is no arguing that Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas works with welfare distribution and nobody is denied any benefits because of any identity, ethnicity, caste, religion. But the sentimental appeal to the voters is limited to the Hindu voter. And for that, the threat from Pakistan must always be there because you're voting against Pakistan. You're voting to protect yourselves from the threat from Pakistan either directly or through its terrorist proxies. How it complicates our strategic interest and positioning is evident in the way the game is playing out in Bangladesh. That India was denied a friend in Sheikh Hasina Wajid shouldn't mean that India won't have any friends there going ahead. Whatever the Jamaat and even Muhammad Yunus might think of Pakistan, Bangladesh is surrounded by India on three sides. The two are essential neighbors. We are for Bangladesh an essential, much bigger neighbor with indispensable linkages. Polarized politics, especially with West Bengal and Assam polls coming up now, means that the relationship with Bangladesh will only worsen before India inevitably begins repair work with the newly elected government there. Even if the new government is friendly with Pakistan, maybe still hostile to India, Pakistan is too far and has no resources to be of any use. Bangladesh will need India's goodwill to put its own polity and economy together while keeping its sovereign respect. Chinese weapons? Will Bangladesh buy Chinese weapons? Hasina also mostly bought weapons from China, almost all, barring $1 billion credit line that she got from Russia in 2013. Almost all her weapons besides that came from China. So there is no difference because anybody who is in power in Dhaka balances. Nobody can keep the Chinese out. It is in this big picture that we need to reflect on the Mustafizur Rahman IPL issue. Some people these days get triggered at the mention of soft power, just the word soft power. But cricket is India's hard power, not soft power. It's hard power given how important the game is in the subcontinent. Think about this. Is our hosting and patronizing the Afghan cricket team an expression of soft or hard power? Will you read it in isolation of the troubles the current Afghan government is giving the Pakistanis? That's why not shaking hands with the Pakistanis even while you play with them and limiting that anger only to cricket or blackballing the solitary Bangladeshi picked by an IPL franchise opens up more space for Pakistan in India's neighborhood. Is that loss of soft or hard power? I would argue that that is loss of hard power. No aspiring big power hands over its strategic policy to social media. This is not a hasty generalization about social media. In the same period that the no handshaking, take no trophies from a Pakistani issue reared its head, we played against Pakistan the Junior Sultan of Johor Cup League match in hockey on 14th October 2025 in Malaysia, where the players not only shook hands but also high-fived before a 3-3 draw. Of course, India went to the final eventually, not Pakistan. Were the hockey boys any less patriotic than our cricket stars? Did the government rap them on the knuckles or pull out the red card? Nothing. It is only because it's social media based. The government social media base did not take notice. Who cares about hockey anyway? Like a champion heavyweight fighter, the big power fights as much through its footwork as with the power of its punches. Pakistan needs to constrain this space for India. India cannot fall into that trap. For the moment, the Pakistanis seem a bit chastened, but at some point Munir would do something to slow us down. At the very least, giving a rude brush on the side of us, the shiny Mercedes, with his dumper truck. For India to deny that, it must rebuild its ties in the neighborhood, stabilize ties with China or keep them stable with China, and finally begin spending on defense, begin spending big on defense. Pakistan has a broken economy. Bait it with a new arms race, and that will push it back further. Sounds like beggar my neighbor? What else to do with a neighbor whose only game is to try and slow you down? You want peace? Be a good neighbor. We must deny Pakistan an undeserved place in our politics and in our minds. That's what the headline says, Pakistan se azaadi.